Okay, Boker Tov, and we're on the Samach Aleph, beginning of the parak. Samach Aleph, beginning of the parak. Beginning of what? This is the ninth parak.
60. This is the last parak?
The
last parak.
Yes, last parak. So it's called Hakusim, but that's censorship. It shouldn't be called Hakusim. Is that what you have? Akutim? So it should
I
be.
have Akutim in parentheses and Hagoyim in
Okay,
brackets.
that's the right one. Okay, that's nice.
Hagoyim.
Hagoyim. It's only a censorship because they printed it under the Christian rule, so they have to change a lot of things. Later on, it's also going to say over the Kachovim, all that you have to change to Goyim, plain Goyim. Hagoyim Eilem Nazirus. The Goy, if he makes himself a Nazir, he doesn't become a Nazir. And even though Goyim could make mitzvahs, sometimes have do mitzvahs, but here it doesn't take effect at all. He's not a Nazir. Means if surely no karbanis, and even if he asks us if he may drink wine, we tell him yes, you may drink wine. I made a nether not to be, I made a nether to become a Nazir. It doesn't apply. So that's the first halacha. Goy doesn't have the whole halacha of a Nazir. How about women?
I want to share that this is this Daf Yomi thing.
Yeah,
He sent pictures of two
Nazirim.
Goyim
The Goyim
with
Nazirim
hair, like one is down to his knees
for the purpose of being
to show that they're not Nazir. They're growing their hair.
Are they doing it for the purpose of Nazirim?
Who knows why Goyim do what they do?
It doesn't have anything to do with it.
He's just like for fun, showing
Yeah,
like
okay.
somebody with long hair, and obviously they're not Muslims.
This is called the Daf Yomi experience.
That's the experience, right?
They have make a Daf
Okay, but
Yomi
it
experience.
makes people wake up and see, oh,
Yeah.
long hair. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, it makes them want to learn, maybe. Okay.
Okay, so Goyim don't have any Nazirus. If they made himself a Nazir, have any Nazir, it doesn't become a Nazir. Nashim ba'avadim mishlam Nazirus. But women can become a Nazir, a Nazira. And that's the point that it's open pasuk. It's not only a Torah Shebek Palpet, it's even Torah Shebek Sav. It says, Daber b'nei Yisrael, Omarta aleihem.
Why would we
Ish,
think,
yeah.
why would we think not? I mean, Goyim don't have any mitzvahs to do, or they have the 7 mitzvahs,
Yeah.
Noach. So then they think that's partial mitzvahs. So a woman also has partial mitzvahs, maybe also not.
I don't think it has anything to do with the Goyim, but maybe there's a chiddush that woman can become a Nazir. Why would you think not?
Okay.
It happens to be a fresh pasuk.
says
The pasuk goes
Isha.
out this way. Isha,
Yeah.
Isha, yeah.
Isha. Okay.
And above them also, and every Kanani could become a Nazir.
Oh, Nebuchadnezzar could become another.
That's the Mishnah. Goyim not, Nashim ba'avadim can become a Nazir. And then the Mishnah says, there is some stringency by women over Avadim. That his servant, his Eved Kanani, who became a Nazir, the master does have the right to force him to drink wine, means to go against the Naziros. Means he can't, we don't know, I don't know enough yet, but the Eved is subject to his master. He's Meshubah to his master. So since it comes in conflict, the master wants him to drink wine. I don't know what the reason is, maybe because he's not working with enough enthusiasm. He wants him to be, he doesn't want him to be afflicted. He wants him to drink wine. So the Aved is Meshubah to his master, and he must drink wine, even though he became a Nazir. He does have the right to become a Nazir, but if it's on the cheshbon of the master, so then the master has the right to stop him. But the husband cannot stop his wife. Now we had a Mishnah, it openly that he could, that he doesn't want Ishim Novelas, he doesn't want Ishim Gulachas, so he could be Mefer.
Well, what are those two things?
He doesn't want his wife not to drink wine. She'll become afflicted. She'll be in a bad mood. Menuvelas.
Oh, he doesn't want her to become Menuvelas.
And also, he doesn't want her Gulachas. He doesn't want her to shave her head. So there were sugis where he's allowed to be made for her nether. That is true. He's allowed to be made for her nether. But if he wasn't made for her nether and her nether went through, so then he can't say, "Today I want you to drink wine." Not right now. Don't cut your hair. Or he can't tell her to drink wine. He can't tell her to go against the Nazirus. Once she became a Nazir, he has the right to stop it. What?
He has a right to
Yom Shama.
He has a right to stop it, but he doesn't have a right to kofet her.
Right. Once
So
it
how come this doesn't become more famous? That man, they always say it's the chauvinistic, that Judaism is chauvinistic, and here we have Meforish that a man cannot kofet his wife.
If you want to take things out of context.
Why is this not a klal? You mean here it only means
She became a Nazir, so you can't force his.
You can't force her to shave her head.
Can you force her to do anything? You can't force her to do anything.
Whatever she's mechuyev to do. She's
mechuyev to do things.
Is the husband in the driver's seat, and she's for sure. The husband is the head of their household. I don't know what they mean, whatever the word chauvinistic means. But of course, the
Oh,
husband is the head of the.
He's the head of the household, but he can't force.
Like Rabbi Miller says, he has
but
a
can't
bigger, he has
force
a,
her,
he has a,
can't
he has a beard.
order her to do things.
What does it mean? She has shibudim to do. She has obligations.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not sure what the point is.
Okay.
Yes,
But-
the last word in the house. Yes, dear. Good.
Okay.
Rabbi Miller says, why do men have beards? That their chin should be bigger.
So
That
the what?
their chin should be bigger. They want to change the basics of human creation. They want to make everything upside down. It's not going to work. Okay, so the goyim don't have nazirus and Hashem avadim do have nazirus, but the Gemara is going to discuss today is going to be the goyim and the goyim and the avadim. Goyim not, avadim yes. Katani, it says in the Mishnah, hakusim lehem agoyim. Take out all these kusim, agoyim that mean they're nazirus. But not immediately. How do you know that goyim don't have the ability to make themselves a nazir? The Tana Rabbanan belong to the Brisa, Tabel b'nei Israel. That's the pasuk. Maybe highlight that over here.
Israel,
Tabel b'nei Israel.
end quote,
Below the goyim, because
Mhm.
b'nei Israel excludes goyim. So nazirus. This is the pasuk where it talks about nazirus, and then it says v'amar ta'aleim. That's an extra word to say, speak to them and tell them that a man or woman to become a nazir. The Rabbah says asavadim. End of the brisa. So we had a pasuk to say that goyim not, and we have a pasuk to say that avadim yes. End of the brisa. Now the Gemara is going to take over. Normally, why do you need a pasuk to say that avadim yes? You need a special pasuk to say that Eved could become. Now the pasuk says openly that a woman could become. So why would you think that Eved not?
Isn't the question Lamali
Wrong.
Marta? No, I'm sorry.
Normally, why do you need a pasuk? Kama Amr. But you already said there's a klal someplace else. Any mitzvah that a woman is obligated, and Eved is obligated in. So if you know that women are obligated, could have the mitzvah of a
So
nazir.
if you knew women, why?
So why would you have to have a pasuk to say that Eved also special pasuk for Marta Aleim? Why do you need a pasuk for?
Mhm.
The answer is Amar Rav Shani Yochad Amar Kruel Lesavi Saul Nafsho. Because the pasuk over here, this pasuk is not here. This pasuk is in by the parsha of Nidorim, or in parshas Matos. So we saw if someone's going to make a restriction upon himself, so he makes an neder, and over there it's mashma that Eved cannot make a neder. So you saw nafsho to make a restriction upon himself. It's mashma somebody who's in charge of himself. He has jurisdiction over himself. Yotza Eved she'en nafshe kanilo, and Eved doesn't have jurisdiction over himself. Yeah, his master does. So therefore, he's not the parsha of Nedarim. It sounds like from the Gemara. It sounds like he really is not in the parsha of Nedarim. He's not in the parsha of Nedarim. But you might think since he's in the parsha of Nedarim, he's not in the parsha of Nazirus either, because Nazirus is a kind of a neder. So you might think that he's excluded. That the pasuk B'mait Aleim tells us that he could make himself a nazir. So we had the kasha and the teretz. The question was why do you need a pasuk by avadim that yes? And the answer is you might think that it ain't nafshe k'nuyalo. This was the kasha, lamali kruah, and the answer is oh ve'ein nafshe k'nuyalo ein b'gabi nazir namilo. Finished with that. New Gemara. The pasuk said before Amamar. It said double b'nei Yisrael below the goyim, and the Gemara is going to be bothered. It's true, b'nei Yisrael means goyim, means not goyim, but the pasuk continues and says ish or isha, piafli, lindor neder nazir Hashem. So it does say besides the word b'nei Yisrael, it also says ish or isha, and ish or isha is parv. It sounds neutral. It sounds like any kind of man, even a goy. And the Gemara is going to prove that when it says ish, it's coming to be marba goy, and that's going to be Gemara's kasha. It does say b'nei Yisrael that seems to be mamayda goy. It seems to be excluded. But it also says ish, which seems to be including a goy. What do you do with that? Here's the kasha. Whenever it says b'nei Yisrael, it excludes goyim. Of course, it excludes goyim, but the kasha is that it says ish also, and sometimes even though it says b'nei Yisrael, but it says ish. So in some aspects, the goy is included. Which you're right, b'nei Yisrael over there by Erchin. Erchin means when somebody says Erech Ploni Alai, Erki Alai, that he obligates himself to pay a certain amount to hektish, not the value of the person as much as his the age and gender. So over there it says in the pasuk how much he has to pay to hektish, a man between 20 and 60, and then a woman and till age 5, and each tree is 5 and 20, over 60, different age zones, ranges for how much you have to pay for Erchin. Over there it says, Daber b'nei Yisrael. What's the pasuk? I have the pasuk written down. Ish ki afli neder v'ekechon Daber b'nei Yisrael. So it says b'nei Yisrael. V'amata aleihem. It even says v'amata aleihem also. Ish ki afli neder v'ekechon l'fashos l'Hashem. So it says b'nei Yisrael, but it also says ish. So first it says b'nei Yisrael marichin ve'ein hagoyim marichin. That if a guy said erech ploni alai, doesn't take effect. He doesn't have the ability to make an erchin. But you might think that he might not be able to be nerach. The marich is the person who vows. The nerach is the person who's vowed about. Like when Reuben says, "I'm going to pay the erchin of Shimon. I'm going to erech Shimon alai." So Reuben is called the marich, and Shimon is called the nerach. So the guy who's marich, the guy who accepts upon himself, he vows to pay the erech of somebody. That's nothing. He doesn't have to pay. But if a Jew talks about a guy, erech ploni alai, erech John alai. So it says here that a guy is nerach. Talmud lomar ish, that the word ish is coming to say that a guy is in the parsha. It's true. It's coming to exclude and coming to include. The word excluded, the Bnei Yisrael excludes the guy, and the word ish includes a guy. So over there, that there's two issues about the Erchin. One is the ma'arich, one is the nerach. One is the person who's vowing, one is the person who's being vowed about, who's being evaluated. So over there it says the word ish is coming to mimar bar guy. So what's the Gemara's kash over here? Also, it's true that by Nazir it says Bnei Yisrael, but it also says ish. So you have to tell me upshot as far as what is the guy, yes, included in the parsha of Nazir. Kasha makes sense?
Kasha
makes
says
sense.
east, so you should be able to
Include, a guy has to
that,
be in the
yeah.
parsha. There has to be something, you're right, Bnei Yisrael comes to exclude, but the word ish comes to include. By Erchin, we have two aspects over there. The one who's making the vow, the one who's being evaluated. So over there it says, Bnei Yisrael excludes the guy. Ish includes the guy. By Nazir also it says both psukim. It says Dabba Bnei Yisrael, Ish or Isha. So the word ish has to be marba. So tell me, which aspect is the guy becoming included? You just told me he's excluded, as if he's not in the parsha of Nazir at all. But you have to satisfy the pasuk that says ish, that he's included in the parsha of Nazir. There's going to be a couple of suggestions the Gemara is going to say in Amud Beis, but just to take one, Tosfos and the Rush to bring that one of the suggestions is going to come up that maybe he could become a Nazir, but he's not going to bring the kabbanis of a Nazir. For instance, there has to be something that he's excluded, something that is included. Maybe excluded is from bringing kabbanis of a Nazir, and included would be he does become a Nazir. He's going to ask you, do I have to keep my Naziros? Do I have to not cut my hair and not drink wine? Maybe you'll tell him yes, you have to keep your Naziros. But afterwards, when you're going to bring a korban, no korban is for a guy. That's a possibility. Other possibilities coming up also. But the one is asking, you have to satisfy the pasuk. The pasuk says ish, which is coming to be marba and goy. So tell me upshot that the guy is included in the parsha of Nazir. The Gemara answers, I don't know what the pasuk ish is coming to tell you, but for sure it's not coming to tell you anything about a Nazir. Shani Yachad Amar Kra, Laviv Olimo Lo Yitama. The pasuk when it talks about Naziros, it says that he shouldn't. One of the things, he shouldn't drink wine. He shouldn't cut his hair. It also says he shouldn't become defiled to his father or mother. He shouldn't become in contact with the mace. Anefesh mace lo yavo, and lavivu limo lo yitamo. He shouldn't become tamei even to a father or mother.
That's about Nazir.
That's by Nazir, right? But midbar vav, it says on the side. B'mishi yesh lo av. Yatsa goy she'ein lo av. Since it talks about not becoming defiled to his father or mother, it means he must be related to a father or mother. But here the Gemara holds at this point that the guy does not relate it to his father. It's not considered, even though of course he's biologically gave birth to him, but it's not considered his father.
If that the yichus of a goy is through the father.
You're right. That's a Gemara's kasha right away. The Gemara is going to say that he's related to his father. But at this
Maybe
point,
he has a father.
he has a father, right? Yes,
So
the
why
Gemara's
did you say
kasha.
he doesn't have a
You're right. That's the Gemara's kasha, mamish. The next point. That's it. You got it. I think that's what you meant. The Gemara first says that a guy doesn't have a father. What does it mean he doesn't have a father? Of course, somebody gave birth to him.
Right.
But that's not called.
No, because maybe there's preachers or
No.
something. and you don't know who
We're talking about the real biological father. It's not considered his father. The Gemara is suggesting that the guy is not considered related to his father. You're right. You're right. You're right.
I'm right in everything.
You're right.
The Gemara doesn't.
The Gemara is setting us up, and it's supposed to ask, and you asked. It's like we said yesterday. The Gemara doesn't want you to say yes, yes, yes. The Gemara wants you to jump up and say it doesn't make sense. So
No, but
that's
don't
what
we
you
have to justify that it said it.
No. The Gemara is right away. That is not
Okay,
true.
Okay.
Let's try this drasha that since the pasuk says that the Nazir cannot become tummy to his father and mother, it must be talking about somebody who has a father and a mother, and a goy, yatsa goy she'ein lo av. the guy's father is not considered his father, and therefore he wouldn't be in parsha of Nazir. You have a kasha, what do you do with the word ish? Good kasha, I don't know, but it's surely not in the parsha of Nazir. But the Gemara says you're not right. It's not true. The guy is related to his father. Lamai. What do you mean to say that the guy is not related to his father? If you're talking about inheriting a father, he is considered his father. That even with the Raisa, a guy has the legal right to inheritance of his father. It means he is related to his father. Hashem said, don't capture, don't conquer Har Seir, because it's given as an inheritance to Esav. It's an Esav's Yerusha. That means that Esav is considered, that's the goy. Esav is a goy, and that's considered.
He's considered like the father.
He's considered the father of his nation.
Mm-hmm.
So what you said is not true. You want to say that a goy is not in the parsha of Nazirus because he doesn't have a father, and the pasuk is mashma lo b'bolimo lo yitama, that he's talking about somebody has a father. A goy does have a father. So maybe you meant to say that he's not in the mitzvah of kibbud avayim. He has a father, a biological father, a legal father, but he's not in the parsha of kibbud avayim. He doesn't have to honor. He doesn't have the mitzvah of honoring his father, and maybe only somebody who is in the parsha of kibbud of kavod, he's the one who's in the parsha of Nazir, and since he doesn't have the mitzvah of kibbud avayim, so he's not in the parsha of Nazir. Maybe that'll be a nice reason to get out of the ish. Maybe you want to say that only somebody who's commanded on the mitzvah of kavod, he's the one who's in the parsha of Nazir, and the guy is not. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say anything about kavod. It doesn't say that. It says it talks about not becoming the father. It just says father and mother. It doesn't say anything about kavod above it. So
kibbud av is not one of the seven mitzvahs.
Right. So at this point, the Gemara is asking. The Gemara is attacking. The Gemara is on a kasha now. That you said Bnei Yisrael comes to exclude a goy, but you have to satisfy the pasuk that says ish, and ish is coming to be marba something. So some aspect of Nazirus he should be included.
Mm-hmm.
The Gemara tried to get out of it by saying that he has to have a father. The Gemara says he has a father. He has a legal father. He doesn't have kibbud avayim, but he has a legal father. And here all it says is that so only by kasha that the pasuk ish should be coming to include a Nazir of goy in the parsha of Nazir. One line up, so now we're going to same pasuk as before, but before we were stressing the Aviv Imo, now we're stressing the lo yitama part, that he shouldn't become defiled to anybody, to a dead person, even a relative. But now we're not talking about the relative, we're talking about anybody. Lo yitama, he shouldn't become tamei. So that means that the person, the Nazir, is becoming tamei. He's not supposed to. But we're telling him, don't become defiled. But we must be talking about somebody who is able to become contaminated with tumas meis. And a goy cannot become contaminated if a goy doesn't become tamei. The whole thing of tumas meis doesn't apply to a goy. We're not talking about the corpse of a goy. The corpse of a goy does give off tumah. The masa maybe ohel, but talking about the goy, the live goy. The live goy, if he touches the dead, does it become tamei?
I see. No.
And the Gemara saying doesn't become tamei. The whole thing of tumas meis only applies to a Jew that becomes contaminated, but a goy doesn't become contaminated by tumas meis. So the whole parsha of Nazir, where it talks about not becoming contaminated with tumas meis, doesn't apply to a goy.
But we're still, so it's just pushing the question. We still have excluding, we don't have any including.
Right, and we're just proving that don't try to include it because it's excluded, and that's all. You have a kasha, what do you do with the pasuk ish? I don't know, we'll put it on the list. But don't force me in the corner to say ish must be that he isn't the parsha of Nazir. He's not in the parsha of Nazir.
Okay.
They even has a nice kasha over here, the Rishonim, that this rush is going to be so nice that you don't even need the pasuk of Bnei Yisrael to take away a goy. Right now we're holding with two psukim. One says Bnei Yisrael to exclude a goy. Ish to be marba goy. And we're saying he can be marba goy from the word ish because he's definitely out of the parsha because of these reasons we're going to say now. So if so, it's such a nice drasha, you don't even need Bnei Yisrael to exclude the goy. Of course he's excluded. He's not in the parsha of Tumah. So it's a nice kasha that we shouldn't talk about it, but let's go further. But the Gemara is saying, don't tell me that the word ish is coming to include the goy, because it says lo yitama, b'misha ish lo tama, only somebody who's in the parsha of tumas meis to become contaminated with tumas meis. Amad beis yatsa goy she'ein lo tama, goy doesn't become contaminated with tumas meis. Now who says? Lev Yaakov, you said that a goy doesn't. You're happy with that? The goy doesn't become tamei tumas meis.
Talking about a live goy.
A live goy doesn't become tamei tumas meis. How do we know?
Rabbi Citrin said it.
Who says that there's no tum? Who says maybe a goy does become tamei tumas meis? Maybe this pasuk, It says somebody becomes tamei and didn't cleanse himself. Lo yischata. Doesn't do it. This doesn't mean sins. It means to become cleansed. Like today they call a chomer chitui, like a disinfectant. Chitui means so if someone became tamei and he didn't cleanse himself, he's chayv kares. Of course, it means if he's chayv kares, he went to the base of mikdash or he kachim. So it says that bitoch hakahal, that soul should be cut off from the assembly. Who's the assembly? Not the assembly of goyim. That's the assembly of Jews. So he's talking about somebody who become tamei, and if he's not gonna make himself Torah, he's gonna go into the base of mikdash, he's cut off from the assembly. The mishesh lokol. He also says shein lokol. So a guy is not included because a guy doesn't have an assembly. There has to be somebody who's part of the assembly, part of the Jewish people, and he's going to be cut off from the Jewish people. That's not talking about a guy. So isn't this a nice pasuk to show us that a guy does not have tumah? I would like to put this in parentheses, this thing, because the Gemara seemed to be happy that the drasha was a good drasha, that a guy cannot be included in the parsha of Nazir because it's talking about somebody that has tumah, and the guy doesn't have tumah. But it's a nice side point to find out, how do you know a guy doesn't have tumah? So we'll put in parentheses until till here. Maybe. So let's try. So we asked, how do you know? The Gemara suggests because it says that only mitoch hakol, and he doesn't have a kohol. So that would satisfy us to know that a guy doesn't have tumas mace, and therefore is not in the parsha of Nazir. But the Gemara is not satisfied. Who says that he doesn't have tumah? Who says that the guy doesn't have tumah? Maybe he does contract the tumah. I
thought we're asking if he's not part of the kahal.
We know he's not part of the code. That's true. He's not part of the Bnei Yisrael. He's not part of the assembly. But you see from there that he doesn't have tumah. The pasuk just says that someone who's tamei and doesn't cleanse himself is going to be cut off from the assembly.
Or maybe he has tumah even if he's not part of the kahal.
Right. He doesn't have chorus. He's not going to be cut off from the assembly. Who says he doesn't have tumah? Tumah chorus who the lo machayev. Maybe the pasuk that says George Rush is very nice. He's not chayv chorus. A guy who became tamei. Let's say he does become tamei. A guy became tamei and he went to the base of mikdash, whatever, he ate kachim. I don't know what the case would be. So he's not chayiv kares because the person is only talking about somebody who's in the assembly, then he's cut off of the assembly. But a guy is not in the assembly, he doesn't get cut off. But who says he doesn't contract tumah? So you didn't prove it yet. Amakro, vehiza Torah la tamei, kol sheyesh lo tara yesh lo tumah, v'kol she'en lo tara ein lo tumah. The pasuk says they're talking about paraduma, how to do the paraduma. It says that the Torah one sprinkles on the tamei person. He's a Torah ala tamei, and the Rashi is mashma that it's coming to compare the Torah and the tamei. Only somebody who could become purified from the tumah, he's the one who contracts tumah. But somebody who cannot get out of the tumah, he cannot contract the tumah.
What was the sentence first? Before that, I mean, koresud lo mechayev. What are the rest?
Well, it's muyeh mitamu. Maybe he becomes tamei. That word is tamei. It's muyeh mitamu. Like he must say.
Maybe he becomes tamei even though
he does not chayv koros.
He's not chayv.
The pasuk that says that he's not that only for someone who's in the assembly could be cut off the assembly. So it's true. He's not going to be cut off because not in the assembly before. He's not going to be cut off from the Mitzri nation, whatever. But you don't see anything about not becoming tamei. We're trying to find who says he doesn't have tumah. Who tells us that the guy doesn't have tumah? Maybe the guy does become tamei. He tried to tell me because he's not in the parsha of kohol. That's true, but the pasuk of kohol is just talking about to be chayv kares. So the guy's not chayv kares. If in his tumah state he's going to do something, but who says he doesn't contract tumah? So the more tries a different try. We need the pasuk of kohol is not enough. So visa Torah ala tamei. This is going to be the pasuk. This pasuk says that the Torah person sprinkles on the tamei person. That sounds like we're equating the Torah and the tamei. And that the Gemara Josh is only somebody who could get out of his tumah gets into tumah, but if he can't get out, he doesn't get in. Called she'en lo tara, ein lo tumah. But the Gemara.
Can you read again from Amai? Vamai Tahara. Did you read that yet?
Which one?
Vamai Tahara. Oh, the Ematara. I'm sorry. I thought it was the Ematara. Did you read that?
No, that I didn't read.
Oh, okay. So
till there is good. That Torah la tamei, if he has Torah, he has tumah. If he doesn't have Torah, he doesn't have tumah. And therefore, a guy doesn't have tumah. Why? Because he doesn't have Torah. Who says he doesn't have Torah? That the Gemara doesn't tell us. Who says he can't? Who says he can't get out of the tumah? The Gemara goes backwards. You know why he doesn't become tamei? Because it says the person who become tamei could become Torah, and the guy can't become Torah. Given a guy can't become Torah, so therefore he doesn't become tamei in the first place. Who tells us he can't become Torah? The Gemara doesn't say. The Gemara leaves us hanging. So the Rishonim helped us out. It's very strange how the Gemara doesn't tell us such a basic thing in the drasha that we're supposed to figure it out. So they tell us in Russia that it says, yeah, the Rosh and the Tosfos, they say, or the Rashi, it says here, Va'oved kochavim, here it is, Va'oved kochavim ein lo tara, how? That's talking about the paraduma, the ashes of the paraduma. It should be for Bnei Yisrael or Mishmeres L'meini Da, for sprinkling water. Hatasi, that's the way how you cleanse the person who's stomach mace. It says the word Bnei Yisrael, and that's a given that the Gemara doesn't even have to tell us.
It's not. It's a first pasuk. We're talking about Bnei Yisrael below going to this.
I'll say even more, like even a stronger thing. I think there's no such drasha really. There's no real drasha like that. This Bnei Yisrael, to tell you that a guy doesn't get paraduma is not a real drasha. It's impossible because the guy doesn't become tamei. The truth is the guy doesn't become tamei. So of course you don't need the pasuk to say that he doesn't become tamei. He doesn't become tamei in the first place. So this is only a theoretical drasha that you have to dream up in case it will be that the guy would have tumah, so he wouldn't be able to have tara. And because the pasuk says he's a tara tamei, so that tells us that if he doesn't have tara, he doesn't have tumah. It's a very theoretical, but it's very interesting. Now the next line is even more interesting. The Gemara forgets what he does finish saying. And it says once again, he just said he doesn't have time, but maybe he does have tumah. Now we said a second ago, visa tara latame. We just had the pasuk. Visa tara latame, kol sheish lo tara yesh lo tumah. So the Gemara just ignores it. Like the Gemara just finished saying a drasha that if you don't have tara, you don't have tumah. And then the Gemara says maybe you don't have tara, but you do have tumah. Like you didn't hear what I just finished saying. I just finished saying if he doesn't have tara, he doesn't have tumah. So this must be another girsa.
Okay.
I saw that in the one of the Kisvayat. It takes out these words from, and it must have been a different gear. So I didn't see all the Mepharshim, but at least some don't have this. All this takes it out because it seems to be repeating the same thing over again, or more or less, and brings a different pasuk. It brings Isha Sheit Mo V'Lo Yischata. That's the pasuk where you see that if he doesn't have Tara, he doesn't have Tumah. But to read it all together, I don't see I can read the both of them together. I didn't see all the Mepharshim again. I don't know, but one shot will say take it out.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? We finished learning that a guy. This was all parentheses just to find out the fact that a guy doesn't have Tumas Mace. He doesn't have Tumas Mace. That was the drush on the bottom of the page over here. That liimo la'aviv lo yitama b'mishesh lo tama. Maybe make that to highlight that. That's going to be the drasha that we learned. That's our good drasha. Lo yitama, whatever. This word lo yitama tells us b'mishesh lo tama. Yatsa goy she'ein lo, since it's she'ein lo tama. So and then the word is found in the parentheses. How do you know a guy doesn't contract tama? But if you know he doesn't contract tama, so the pasuk said la'aviv lo yitama. That means we're talking about somebody who could contract tama, and the guy can. So
He's out of Nazir.
To zoom out, she's out of Nazir. So to zoom out, the mission said going mainly ein lo Nazirus. That's how it says. Going mainly Nazirus. And the question was how? It says Bnei Yisrael, but it also says Ish. So maybe, and other places you find that Ish is coming to be Marber Goy. So maybe he will also be Marber Goy. And that the Gemara says it can't be. It can't be because another pasuk says Lo Yitama, that he shouldn't become defiled. The guy can't become defiled. He's not the Pasha. And just I Rishon Masikasha. Now there's such a nice drasha, so you don't even need the Bnei Yisrael. You didn't have to say Bnei Yisrael. Of course, only Bnei Yisrael. The guy doesn't have Tumah. So that's a kasha the Rishon Mas, and the Gemara is happy at this point. The Gemara continues with more happiness to try to get another pshat. How do you know that the word Ish is not coming to be Marba Goy? We finished one pshat. We're happy with the one pshat so far. So the words of the Gemara, if you look at it, it sounds like it's talking about Tumas Meis. The pasuk, just to highlight the pasuk over here, this is the pasuk. It's talking about Eved Kanani. If someone owns the Eved Kanani, that didn't go well. Try it again. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to highlight this pasuk over here. It's talking about if somebody owns the Eved Kanani, so he bequeaths it to his children. When somebody has Eved Kanani and he dies, the Yorshim inherit the Eved Kanani. What does it have to do with us? What do you see? What do you see anything about tumah over here? This, if you read the words alone, it sounds like we're trying to find the source that a guy doesn't have tuma. It's part of the parentheses. I made a parentheses of learning out that the guy doesn't have tuma. So we said one pasuk, and now according to the words, it sounds like it's telling you another pasuk for the same thing. But the Mefarshim say, what can I see over here? First of all, he says, Taisa says, Avodim Koi. This pasuk is talking about Avodim to inherit an Evet Kanani. The Rosh Hashanah Delael. Mishesh Lo Av Lenin Kol Yerusha Mufreshes Batorah. The Yerushas Avodim Mufreshes Bikra. If it's Nechaltem, the Goy Ein Amorish Avdol Levanav. She'ein the Goy Kinyan Begur Fa Evet. So Taisa says he's going back to the Russia before that we tried to say, not about the Tumah, but about Yerusha. If we scroll back. So the Gemara is trying to find, how do you know that for sure a goy is not in the parsha of Nazir? And then the Gemara came to this Rasha about lo yitama. Yes, only if he has tumah, goy doesn't have tumah. But before that, the Gemara tried that he doesn't have Yerusha. It says lo bivu limo. At the beginning of the pasuk over here, the Gemara tried lo bivu limo. Yatz evet she'en lo av.
Yeah.
And the Gemara said it's not true. A goy does have a father as far as Yerusha goes.
As far as
The same Russian was used.
Right. I'm sorry?
Same Russian. He's using the same Russian. Shani Vacha. The same way over there. We also when we tried learning that we used the Russian Shani Vacha.
Yeah, but we didn't use the word tumah.
No.
We didn't use the word tumah.
No.
Here it's a little misleading. It says kol sheyesh lo Yerusha, whatever yesh lo. There the issue was the zeros. Here we're going to say about tumah. And the Taisa is going to say tumah doesn't mean tumah. Tumah means the zeros. That's a twist. So before the Gemara said he has no Yerusha. Now the Gemara is coming to fix that up. He has Yerusha, but not all Yerusha, because he doesn't yashin the Evet Kanani. If the father had an Evet and he dies, the Evet doesn't go to the son. The guy's son. Evet Kanani
Doesn't go to the son.
doesn't go to the son of the guy.
Oh, boy.
A guy doesn't have Yerusha of Evet Kanani. Here, Taisvis. Only if he has all Yerusha. But Yerusha's Avadim, Feresh's Bekra, that Vesnachaltem, that usually there is such thing as Yerusha of Evet Kanani. But Goy, ain't a Morish Avdol of no. Jane Lovid, Goy Kenyan will go for Evet. He says that that's sure you're not going to transfer in Yerusha if a Goy owns an Evet.
Out of the going, Evet Kanani.
So that's what Taisa is going to talk. Taisa says that he doesn't really own the Evet Kanani in the first place. He only owns the money part of him. He doesn't own the body. That's already like more.
I mean, there was some
details.
kind of a deal that a Jew made.
Yeah, no, nothing with the Jew. The guy bought a guy. The guy bought Evet Kanani. The guy bought a guy. Does that go over?
Bought an Evet,
Right.
but he's not an Evet Kanani.
Okay, whatever that would mean. Whatever kind of Evet that would be.
Yeah.
If a guy bought it and then he died, does the son of the guy, the son inherits his house, inherits his car, inherits everything? Does he inherit the Evet? He doesn't inherit the Evet.
Okay.
And the pasuk by Nazir that said, "Lavivu limo lo yitama," it has to be a father as far as all Yerusha. And since he's not an all Yerusha because he doesn't yashin the Evet Kanani, so he's not the parsha of Nazir. That's how Avrohom Yaakov wants to go back to explain that the guy is surely not the parsha of Nazir. We tried Yerusha, it didn't work. We tried Yerusha in general. We said, no, he is his father. Then we said about kibbut avayim, that's not the subject. Then we tried Tumah, that worked. Now we're going back to the Yerusha case and say it's not enough that he yashins his house and his car. He has to also yashin his Evet. And he doesn't yashin the Evet, so he's not the parsha of Nazir.
So why bring in Evet Kanani? Why don't you just say Evet?
Okay.
I have a problem with why an Evet Kanani, which you said it's better than a goy and worse than.
And how is the
It's like a
Evet?
half Jew, and he's like
How
it's
is
a
he?
greater thing because he's serving the Jew. So how did he end up with a goy?
How did the guy own him?
Yeah,
Okay. If it'll be possible that he was ever
has to be that
status
the
by a
Jew-
Jew,
the
the
Jewish
Jew, and then
owner
somehow
sold
it came
him
to a guy, something like that.
okay.
So this is the Gemara's choice, suggestion. Kol sheyesh lo nachla, even of Evet Kanani, yesh lo tumah. The word tumah doesn't belong. What do you mean tumah? We're talking about Nazir. So Taisa is going to say lavivu limo lo yitama. It's going on the tumah that we're talking about by the Nazir. Lavivu limo lo yitama. Only hard. That only if he's a kind of a father that also would be able to bequeath the Evet to his son. Anybody wouldn't be able to inherit his father's Evet, doesn't have the Tuma means the parsha of Nazir, where it says Lavivi L'mo Yitama. That's places is around the Gemara. So according to this, if Yaakov had a pshat, how come the goy is surely not in the parsha of Nazir? But the Gemara rejects this with 4 words. Yachi avadim namilo, 5 words. Yachi avadim namilo. If your drush is right, so then avadim also should not be, because the eved also is not included in the Yerusha of avadim. Does an eved yashin an eved from his father? No. I mean, if you're saying that a requirement in order to have in the parsha of Nazir is that you're in the parsha of Yerusha from the father, the eved of Chal doesn't about yashin his father. Really, this has nothing to do with the eved. An eved doesn't yashin his father at all. There's no Yerusha at all. If an eved dies, he doesn't bequeath anything that he owns to his son. This avadim are not considered relatives. So this drush is off. We still have the drush of Tumah. We didn't fall off the drush of Tumah. Tumah is a good drush. Only if he has Tumas Mace, and the guy doesn't have Tumas Mace, so he's out of the parsha. But the Gemara, once the Gemara brought in another try, and it slugged it up, now the Gemara's going to try new drushes to tell us which about the Ish. We said Ish. We said Bnei Yisrael excludes the guy, and Ish should be Marba guy. So for all the Gemara was successful in doing is saying can't be. It can't be because he's not in the parsha of Tumah. So figure it out. I don't know what to do with the word Ish, but it's not going to be over here. So now the Gemara goes on to try other reasons how to darshan over here by Nazir with the goy. Elama Rava. Ishlama Gabi Erkin. The Gemara is going to be pretty long, like very many words, but the Gemara is going to say maybe Anachanami, the goy could become a Nazir. He doesn't become a Nazir to bring a korban. The Gemara is giving in. Rava says maybe you're right. Maybe even though the Gemara already was successful to say that he's not in the parsha of Tumah, so he's not. The Gemara was successful, but Rava is going to say maybe he is a Nazir, and if he comes to ask the Rav, may I drink wine? Tommy Lameis. Okay, that one about drinking wine, taking a haircut. So maybe the Rav will say, no, you're not allowed. He made himself a Nazir. It's a real Nazir. That's not going to be a korban. Elama Rava. Ishlama Gabi Yerchen Shinema B'nei Yisrael Marichin Beina Goyim Marichin. Yachala Yunei Rochem Tamalam Ma'ish. All that we quoted before. By Yerchen it says B'nei Yisrael and it says Ish. On one hand, B'nei Yisrael comes to exclude that he can't be ma'arich, he can't obligate himself to pay the erchen of somebody. On the other hand, it says ish to say that he is in the parsha to be ne'erach. If somebody obligated himself to pay the value of this guy, so he does become, it is in the parsha of erchen. And hacha, the Yisrael knows when it will be in korban. Ben agoyim knows when it will be in korban. Yachalaf lo yuno nazir in klal tamadam ish. Maybe enachnami here also. We'll say the same drasha. The Yisrael comes to exclude. Ish comes to include. They're included in the parsha of Nazir. The guy says he's a Nazir. But the Bnei Yisrael just comes to exclude that he doesn't bring a korban. All the korbanos of the Nazir, the Ola, the Chatas, the Ola, the Shlomim, all those korbanos he doesn't bring. But he is in the parsha of Nazir. Maybe, I was suggesting, maybe he does become a Nazir.
The first question, when it said Yechol, it was maybe you would think he'd be out of it completely.
Right.
And it says Ish.
And he is in it. What's he in it? He's in for
Nazir, but not,
and he's out for the korbanos.
Okay.
So the Moses no, it can't be. Amri, they said in the Beis Medrash, if the pasuk is just coming to exclude that he's not, it doesn't mean the korbanos of a Nazir. You don't need this pasuk of Bnei Yisrael to exclude. There's another pasuk. We learn from that pasuk. What does it say? La'olah, prat l'nazirus. It's another pasuk where it says the word la'olah. I think in the in Vayikra someplace. What does it say over there? Akriv korban. Something like that. And over there it says the pasuk that the Gemara learns out that a guy could bring korbanos, but the word la'olah is extra pasuk to say prat l'nazirus, that he doesn't bring a korbanos of nazirus. So this Russia seems to say that it also does seem to say the facts that a guy could become a Nazir, but it doesn't mean the korbanos of a Nazir. That's interesting because here basically it seems to say the favors. If you don't say it doesn't mean the korbanos of a Nazir, that means he is a Nazir. So the facts that Rav was trying to say seem to be true. Because the Gemara doesn't like that. That's what our Mishnah means. Our Mishnah doesn't mean our Mishnah. I mean the Brisa that says the pasuk of Bnei Yisrael. If we go back to the Mishnah says that a Nazir guy can't become a Nazir. Ain't lo Nazirus. But I was saying it doesn't really mean that. He does become a Nazir, but he doesn't mean the korbanos of a Nazir. And how do you know that? From the pasuk that it says la'olah. But our Brisa had another pasuk. Bnei Yisrael is coming to exclude a guy, so he has to be excluding it for something else also, because to know that it doesn't bring a korban, we know from the pasuk la'olah already. So at this point, the Gemara is agreeing to Rava's pshat, but not in the words. The pshat that a goy does become a nazir, just that he doesn't become a nazir for karbonis, is true, but not in the pasuk of Bnei Yisrael, because you have a pasuk of Allah already, which is very interesting that the Gemara is going against what we just said on the first teretz, that he's not the parsha of Tumah, so he's not a nazir at all. Here the Gemara seems to be going with Rava, and basically is going like that he does become a nazir, just he doesn't mean the karbonis. So I don't know how to reconcile which way the Gemara is going. But anyway, the Gemara is still looking for the word ish. What is the word? What is the word ish coming to say? That he is yes a nazir, and the word Bnei Yisrael is coming to say he's not a nazir. But what is he not a nazir? Ema, so the Gemara tries again. Ema, maybe Bnei Yisrael knows in Nazir so long. Bein Goyim knows in Nazir so long. Yachalo, you knows Nazirim Tamad Lama Ish. Maybe you're right that the word ish is coming to say that it could become a nazir, but the exclusion of the word Bnei Yisrael to exclude Goyim is talking about a specialized kind of a Nazirus, a Nazir Olam. Someone makes himself an everlasting Nazir. Maybe on that it says only Bnei Yisrael can make themselves an everlasting Nazir, and a Goy cannot, but a Goy could make himself a regular Nazir. Maybe. Rabbi Yochanan, Niksiv Nazir Olam, that's not a nice drasha, because it doesn't say in the pasuk anything about a Nazir Olam, it doesn't say that. So if the pasuk says that Bnei Yisrael are not Goyim, it should mean any kind of Goyim, not. What? Any kind of a Nazir, not. It's interesting because the word, we started looking for the word ish, and now we're giving in that the word ish is marvin that he is a nazir, and just trying to figure out what Bnei Yisrael is coming to exclude now. We said, is it coming to exclude the karbonos? We have a pasuk for that already. What else is it coming to exclude? Nazir Olam can't be. It's not talking about that. So we changed channels. We changed our target. Till now we were targeting the word ish. What is it coming to be marvin? Now we're giving in that ish says he could become a nazir. And we're just looking for what Bnei Yisrael is coming to exclude. It's very interesting. The numbers changed without really making a big deal out of it. And we changed direction of the Gamri because before we said a whole drasha, which was very nice, that it's not Tameh.
Yeah. And
therefore there's no Nazirus. And now the Gemara is ignoring it, that it could become a Nazir. What happened to the whole drasha? That he's not in the parsha of Tumah B'chal. So
because if you don't need Ish, then you don't need Bnei Yisrael either. So like Joseph said, whoever said. If you're not going to darshan one, then you shouldn't have Bnei Israel either.
But so we are darshaning both. We're darshaning both.
We're back to darshaning both.
Yeah, but there's a problem now. So
we said we didn't need. If you don't need Ish, then you don't need the other one, and that's a problem.
So there was a teretz to that kasha. I said the kasha of the Rishonim. I didn't say the teretz. But the Gemara was happy. The Gemara didn't ask any kashas. The Gemara said that he surely can't be included. And the Gemara is now going that he is included. He is included. He really is included. And now we have to figure out what is Bnei Yisrael coming to exclude. So it's interesting how the Gemara change directions. The Gemara tried to exclude Nazir Olam. The Gemara says no, it doesn't say that. Another try. Emma Bnei Yisrael Madir Bnei Benazir Ben Goyim Madir Bnei Benazir. Yachala Yu Nazir Tamadama Ish. Maybe again the word Ish is coming to say they could become Nazir.
But how do we know? Because he doesn't have a mitzvah. How do we know that the Evid
or Goy?
I'm sorry, Goy. How do we know that the Goy can't madir his?
We're right here. So we have a pasuk Bnei Yisrael. Let's say what the words mean first. We had a Mishnah before earlier that a person has the right to make himself a son of Nazir. Katan. He can make his son. He has jurisdiction over his son to make him a Nazir. Over there it said only if the son doesn't protest or the relatives don't protest. But if no one protests, he has the right to make his son a Nazir. So here, maybe the pasuk of Bnei Yisrael is coming to exclude the Goy from that one.
Because that's what Bnei Yisrael.
We're coming to say what Bnei Yisrael is for. Bnei Yisrael is coming to exclude the Goy from what? Not from all the
Jews. Just say, but that's not what the pasuk doesn't talk about. That each time, why didn't we just say? Wasn't talking about monitoring your son. Isn't that what we just said before that?
The Gemara is going to say that, but in different, maybe more extreme than you're saying it. Means before by Nazir Olam, the Gemara said it doesn't say Nazir Olam, it says all kind of Nazirs. Here the Gemara says it doesn't say in the pasuk anything about being mother your son. Rabbi Yochanan, Halachi ben Nazir. The whole concept of making your son a Nazir doesn't say in the pasuk. The whole thing is Halacha Moshe Messina. There is no pasuk. So if there's no pasuk, you can't say that the pasuk Bnei Yisrael is coming to exclude a Goy from a concept that doesn't even give us any other hint. The whole thing is Torah Shabbat. The whole thing is oral law. The whole thing about making your son a Nazir. So you can't have a pasuk excluding a goy of something which doesn't say in the pasuk b'chol. So it can't be. It can't be that the word Bnei Yisrael is coming to exclude a goy from making a son a Nazir if the whole concept doesn't say in the pasuk. So that also doesn't work.
Halachihi ben Nazir, meaning it's.
That's this thing that a father can make his son a Nazir is Allah Moshe B'Sina.
Mhm.
So we still didn't find why does the word Bnei Yisrael coming to exclude a goy. Ema, the next try. Bnei Yisrael megalchen al Nazir Savian, V'ena goy megalchen al Nazir Savian. The halacha is that if somebody was a Nazir and he died before he brought his karbanos, so is the son who was a Nazir allowed to use his father's karbanos for his own Naziris? So there's a question, sometimes yes, sometimes not. Depends if the son became a Nazir in the father's lifetime, or the son didn't make himself a Nazir until after the father died. But in some cases, the son is allowed to bring the father's karbanos for his own Naziris. And maybe that's what the goy is excluded from. The person that says, Ish is coming to Mamar, but goy is a Nazir. He can make himself a Nazir. But the Bnei Yisrael is coming to exclude a goy from one particular halacha, which halacha that by a Jew, the son can sometimes use his father's korban for himself, and by the goy, not. Which is very interesting.
Well, he doesn't have a.
Doesn't have a korban.
Oh,
The
so
father doesn't have a korban. He doesn't have a korban. What are we talking about? What are we talking about using the father's korbanos?
He doesn't have the ability to bring his father's korban because he doesn't have a korban.
Yes,
So that's enough to exclude him. It's a kind of
there's no thesis on this. So I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Something's wrong over here, right? I didn't see that. I didn't think of the kasha, which I definitely should have.
I was saying that we weren't done on the law.
We're saying now, no. We said the word laola. Laola.
no, but
goes
maybe he
without
doesn't
saying
have
that.
the ability.
What's the
Sure.
ability? He doesn't
Uh-huh.
have kavanas. There's no kavanas. The only question by a Jew is if the son's allowed to use the father's money or the father's korban that he designated for his korban azirus, can I use it for my korban azirus? And it says no. The guy can't use his father's money for there's no korban. We tell the guy, the guy comes to ask the Rav, and I use my father's korban. He said set aside for his nazirus. He should say your father shouldn't have set aside money for nazirus korban because there is no nazirus korban. And you, what are you asking about bringing a korban to your father? You don't bring a korban at all. Even if you're a Nazir, but there's no korban, there's no Nazirus korban for you. So, but the Gemara is using that. The Gemara, if not, basically, the Gemara would say that Bnei Yisrael is coming to say that there's no korban. The only reason why the Gemara is going further, digging further, is because this one we rejected because we know that already. And if you don't know it, so then say it's simple. Don't have to go for the father with the son. Just say that there's no korban. The pasuk is coming to say there's no korban. The Gemara is all going that we know there's no korban already. And now we're saying, but he doesn't have his father's korban. That doesn't make sense. If you know that he doesn't have he doesn't have a korban, his father doesn't have a korban. Now we're just saying that he can't use his father's korban. There's no korban not for the father, not for the son. The heart of the one doesn't make sense at this point. Something's wrong. Something seems very wrong.
Mhm.
And the Gemara continues. So this last one, what does the Gemara say? Maybe the person is coming to tell you that he can't bring the father's money for his own korban.
Mhm.
And the top line, Yachal lo yu nazirin. Maybe you want to say that no naziris at all. We're going again and again. That maybe the guy could become a nazir. Just is coming to exclude. He can't use his father's money for a korban. But the Gemara rejects this also. This also is a lachi ben nazir. The whole halacha that someone could use his father's korban for himself is only a bachal Moshe B'Sinai. So again, you can't have a pasuk to tell you that a guy is now in the parsha of something that doesn't even say the whole concept at all. End of Gemara. That's the end. Now it's very, very hard that this is the end over here. They take out the Ihachi, by the way. The next words they take out. And the end of the sugya is over here. End of the sugya. We finish the sugya.
So what were we
We
left
finish the
with?
sugya.
So what are we left with?
So I didn't look, I didn't look, but it comes out the way I see the whole sugya that we really finished a long time ago. We said that thing about tumah that worked over here. There was a pshat that worked that lo yitama, that Bnei Yisrael comes to exclude a guy. The kasha was maybe Ish is coming to be marba, maybe it's coming to be marba guy, and the Gemara said it can't be because it's only by somebody that is can contract tumah, and the guy can't contract tumah. And I brought in the parentheses, I brought a drasha for that to tell us how do you know, because it says only someone that has tara, he doesn't have tara, so he doesn't have tumah, and they weren't happy with that. So there's no tumah for a guy. If there's no tumah, so there's no nazirus. Finished. So there is no nazirus. And then the Gemara went on as if we forgot about that and tried to find a new drasha. And the Gemara was going the other way, that there is nazirus because it says ish. And the Israel is coming to be might something, and we didn't find what it's coming to be might. The Gemara tried a few choices. Maybe it's coming to be might. There doesn't have a korban. No, we know that already. Maybe it's coming to say he can't make his son into a Nazir. Also, we know that already. Oh, it can't be because of Allah ibn Nazir. Maybe it's coming to say he doesn't use his father's korban. Can't be because we know that that's also Allah Hashim Sinai.
So it seems like we have to go back to the first drush, right?
That's what I would think, and it changes everything. Everything's two different directions. The first Rash was to say he's not a Nazir at all. He's going to go that he is a Nazir, just certain things he doesn't have. And the Gemara didn't find anything. If we go back to the first way, that he's not a Nazir at all. So I don't know what to say. That's what it seems superficially. I wrote as far as I didn't write the Allah over here, but I think that I have to look it up. I don't know. As far as Tumas Mace, that the guy should not become a Nazir at all. Or that would be the Pashas in the Mishnah.
Even if he says he's in Nazir.
Yeah, Eilam Nazirus. The Torah, the simple Allah would be period. Eilam Nazirus. Nothing. And that's not enough, maybe, because there's ish. It doesn't say all that. Yeah, it doesn't have to go into all that. As far as does a guy contract Tumas Mace? So I have a note over here that the Rambam says that he doesn't have ziva, he doesn't have negoim. The Medrash is mashma that a guy does have Tumas Mace. And interesting, there's a passage that says, Atem u'shvichem, by Mechames Midian, when the Jews fought against Midian, so it says that the Jews should make themselves tall. And it says, make yourselves tall, you and your captives. Who are the captives? Captives are going. And it says in the Citrin, Ma atem b'nei bris, av shvichem b'nei bris, shenisrabu b'zeh, avodim l'tumas meis. Maybe it says that every time he has tumas meis, maybe a guy doesn't. Agamar seems to say, for sure, a guy doesn't have tumas meis. And what was the drasha? Because he doesn't have tara, which is overall drasha. But if he'd have tama, he wouldn't have tara. Since he has no tara, he has no tama. So Parshas it says that the guy doesn't contract tumas meis. Maybe avodim do. Avodim do.
Okay.
That's the guy everybody saying. Why would avodim not? What was the drush over here? How do we say that the goyim don't? Because it doesn't have tar. Because it says b'nei Yisrael. It says b'nei Yisrael exclude Evet Kanani. Yes, we have to have a pasuk to say. And you need V'may V'leim to include. That was only because he's b'choy b'knesses kisha. Say Pasha says that Evet Kanani does have tama. For sure. Okay. Yes, everybody. Thank you. The screen stays laid on today?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Thank you. We're falling a little bit behind. We'll try to finish by Motzei Shabbos.
Okay. Well, we have to.